Okay, so today we're diving into something that's surprisingly relevant to, I think, all of us, internal products.
Okay.
You've got a fascinating article here from your daily blockchain.com,
Mhm.
and it's making me rethink how we measure the success of these tools.
Mhm.
It's not just about whether or not they're profitable, right?
Yeah, it's a fascinating perspective. The article really highlights how much we prioritize the external, that market-facing side of products. But think about the tools you use every day at work, the ones that keep things running smoothly behind the scenes.
Right.
Those are internal products, and their success looks completely different.
That's so true. We're talking about the project management systems, the knowledge bases, those custom software tools that, feel like they were built just for your team.
Right. Exactly. And the article makes a really compelling case for why we need to shift our thinking about what success means in this context. Instead of market share or profits, we should be looking at how these internal products impact employee satisfaction, how widely they're adopted within the company, and whether they're actually boosting productivity.
It's almost like flipping the script, right? We're so used to thinking about products in terms of how they impact the bottom line. But with internal tools, the focus shifts to how they impact the people driving that bottom line, the employees.
Absolutely. And when you think about it, happier, more efficient employees often translate to a healthier bottom line anyway, even if it's not a direct correlation.
Yeah.
It's about creating an environment where people feel empowered and supported by the tools they use every day.
This reminds me actually of a
Yeah.
time when our team switched to a new project management system.
Yeah.
And it felt clunky, it felt unintuitive, and honestly, it made everyone's jobs harder, not easier.
Right.
Morale took a nosedive, and we actually ended up switching back to the old system after a few months. It really drove home the point that these tools have a very real impact on our day-to-day experience at work.
That's such a perfect example. And it highlights one of the key challenges the article brings up. Internal products often have to cater to a really diverse set of users with very different
And,
needs.
it's not just about different teams having different needs. The article also points out that because internal products aren't subject to the same market pressures as consumer-facing products, there's often less urgency to get things perfect right out of the gate.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really important point. Think about it like if a company releases a buggy or confusing app to the public, customers might abandon it and go to a competitor. There's a real financial incentive to get it right.
Totally.
Whereas with these internal tools, the users often don't have a choice, do they? They just have to use what's provided, even if it's not ideal. And that can create a sort of inertia where usability issues or missing features never get addressed.
Right, they just never get fixed because it's not make or break.
Exactly. It becomes this vicious cycle. The tool isn't great, so people don't use it to its full potential.
Uh-huh.
And because it's underutilized, there's less incentive to invest in making it better.
Right.
And so this is where the article's emphasis on treating your internal users like customers becomes so crucial.
Okay, I like that. So it's about understanding their pain points, their workflows, their, specific needs, just as meticulously as you would if you were designing a product for a paying customer base.
That's it. The article even suggests creating like detailed user personas for different employee groups.
Mhm.
Who are these people? What are their daily tasks? What are their biggest frustrations with the current tools or processes?
I love that idea. Instead of just assuming we know what our colleagues need, we should be applying the same level of user research and empathy that we would to an external product.
Exactly. And that research should inform not just the initial design of the tool, but also the ongoing development and iteration. The article talks about the importance of using agile methodologies, which are all about flexibility and incorporating user feedback quickly.
So it's not just a build it and forget it
Yeah.
approach. It's about constantly listening, learning, adapting based on how the tool is actually being used or not being used in the real world.
Yeah, and that's where things get really interesting because the article introduces this concept called the Net Employee Impact Score, or NIAS.
Okay, tell me more about this NIAS thing, because this is where I feel like we're going beyond the usual metrics for success.
Absolutely. We're moving beyond just satisfaction surveys or adoption rates. The NIAS tries to quantify the actual impact the tool is having on an employee's day-to-day work.
So it's not just about whether people like using the tool, but whether it's actually making them more productive, more efficient, or better at their jobs in a tangible way.
Precisely. It's about measuring things like how much time the tool saves them, how it reduces errors, or how it improves collaboration and communication within a team. And the article gives some really interesting examples of how companies are actually tracking this kind of data.
For example, I'm always up for a good real-world example.
Well, one company mentioned in the article was able to track how their internal knowledge base, the one that's supposed to have all the answers, was actually impacting customer support response times.
Okay, that's huge, because a knowledge base that's difficult to navigate or doesn't contain the right information can actually end up costing a company time and money.
Exactly. By tracking how long it took support agents to find the information they needed, this company was able to directly correlate improvements to the knowledge base with faster response times and happier customers.
That's a perfect example of how an internal product can have this ripple effect throughout the entire organization, even in impacting the customer experience.
It really underscores the article's point that internal products, when done right, can be powerful catalysts for positive change.
So how do we ensure that these tools are actually done right? Because the article mentions the importance of change management, and I think that's something a lot of companies overlook.
Oh, it's so important. You can build the most amazing tool in the world, but if you just drop it on people's desks without any warning or training, it's likely to be met with resistance, confusion, or even outright rejection.
Like, what is this?
I don't even. It's like buying someone a fancy new kitchen gadget when they're perfectly happy with their old way of doing things. They might need a little convincing, some education on how to use it, and maybe even a few recipe ideas to get them excited.
It's very true. It's very true.
Right. It's about recognizing that change can be unsettling, even when it's ultimately for the better. And so the article talks about the importance of having a really robust communication and training strategy in place.
Yeah, don't just tell people what the new tool is, but explain the why behind it.
Yes.
How will it benefit them? How will it benefit the team? How will it make their work lives easier or more fulfilling?
Exactly. And provide ongoing support, right? Make it easy for people to ask questions, get help when they need it, and even share their feedback and suggestions.
Because ultimately, we want people to feel like they're part of the process, not just subject to it.
Absolutely. When employees feel heard and valued, when they feel like their input matters, they're more likely to embrace new tools and technologies.
And that brings us to, I think, another really crucial aspect that the article highlights, which is the role of leadership in championing these internal products.
Yeah.
Because it's not enough for individual teams or departments to see the value in these tools. Leadership buy-in is essential for securing the resources, budget, and organizational support needed to make them truly successful.
Right. Oh, 100%. Because if leadership doesn't view internal products as strategic assets, it's going to be an uphill battle to get everyone on board.
It feels very much like trying to build a house without a solid foundation. It might look okay on the surface, but it's not going to stand the test of time. It's about leadership, setting the tone from the top,
Yeah.
communicating the importance of these tools and making it clear that investing in internal products is investing in the long-term health and success of the company.
And it's not just about the initial investment, is it? It's about fostering that culture of continuous improvement,
Yeah.
where feedback is welcomed and iteration is embraced.
So it's not a one-and-done situation.
Right.
It's about constantly evaluating how these tools are performing, how they can be improved, whether they're still meeting the evolving needs of the people who use them.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that internal products, just like external products, they need to adapt and evolve to stay relevant and effective.
So as we kind of wrap up our deep dive here, I want to bring it back to you, the listener.
Okay.
Whether you're a CEO or an intern, you have a role to play in shaping this internal product landscape at your own company.
Yeah,
Be vocal about your needs.
absolutely.
Don't suffer in silence if a tool is clunky, confusing, or just plain broken.
Right.
Share your feedback.
Yes.
And don't be afraid to advocate for change.
Mhm.
If you see an opportunity to improve an existing tool or even propose a brand new solution, speak up.
Because at the end of the day, these internal products should make our work lives better, not harder.
They should.
Yeah.
They should empower us to be more productive, more creative, more fulfilled in our roles, and that's a mission worth striving for. So until next time, keep exploring, keep innovating, and keep pushing for those internal products that are not just functional, but truly exceptional.